and welcome to today's webinar. I am Kike Lomo Mbakogo, and on behalf of First Registrars and Investor Services Limited, I welcome you to today's session on corporate compliance essentials every company should know. In today's session, we'll be learning basic requirements company needs to know to avoid penalties, to reduce risk, and to run their business according to the stipulated rule. In the house with us this morning, we have our seasoned speaker that will be doing justice to the topic. And also with us this morning is our moderator, in the person of Madam Modupeola Akombi, who will be introducing our speaker and taking up the session from now. I would also like to let us know that there will be question and answer segments in the course of the session. Let's utilize this time well to ask any question that is bothering us as regards the topic. Right now, without further ado, I would like to hand us over to Madam Modupeola, our moderator. Welcome.
Thank you, Kelomo, for that introduction. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Freeze Webinar 9.0. Wow, it's been a very interesting journey since we started this webinar series in 2025. And so far, I hope you've enjoyed every series that we brought your way. Today, our topic is corporate compliance essentials every company should know. Every company without exception, whether you are public or private or you are an SME, there are specific corporate compliance essentials that you need to know that will enable you avoid getting into trouble and being slammed with penalties by any of the regulatory bodies. So once again, thank you for joining us today. I am Modupeola Akombi, as our host has introduced. We are most privileged today and excited to have with us a distinguished guest speaker, Mrs. Olaide Adeyemo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Kike. Thank you so much for having me.
And there's no doubt she's going to do justice to our topic for today. I'll just give you a brief profile of our guest speaker. And honestly, it is quite interesting. She's the managing director of JCS Client Services, and her areas of specialization include company secretarial, corporate governance, business compliance, and intellectual property. She is a legal practitioner of 30 years post-call and a chartered secretary, a governance professional, an intellectual property expert, while being a member of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. She's also a member of the International Trademark Association, INTA. She provides IP services to both local and international businesses. She's an alumnus of the prestigious Lagos Business School, University of Cambridge, UK, University of Cape Town, South Africa, as well as the Ogun State University, Agor Iwoye, Nigeria. Her professional qualification and memberships span across ICSAN, the Nigerian Bar Association, the International Trademark Association, as well as membership of WIMBIS. Her experience cuts across various sectors. As director of JCS Client Services, she provides strategic management for organizational transformation through visionary and pragmatic leadership for efficient management of resources and leads the company secretarial team. She has varied and practical experiences in client relationship and contract administration, corporate governance, and strategic intellectual property portfolio management. She provides support and structure to businesses across Nigeria in regulatory, compliance, corporate governance, and best practices. She also has expertise in directors training and induction and helps in establishing best international practices in businesses and organizations with the aim of achieving commercial, ethical, and sustainable objectives. Through her professionalism and dedication to work, She acts as a one-stop shop for her clients, as well as providing tailor-made solutions to their issues. She's very passionate about the growth and success of businesses and loves being able to help those in need of support and structure. I would like to just mention a few of her major assignments. She's a resource person at ICSAN and Faith Foundation and an alumnus of Winboard Training. She was editor flagship committee ICSAN Lagos State chapter from 2022 to 2024. She has continued to contribute to the growth of the institute as a member of corporate members and training committee. And currently, she is the chair, logistics subcommittee, planning committee, ICSAN Lagos State chapter from 2024 to date. Today, she will share invaluable insights on our topic, drawing from her extensive expertise in legal, regulatory, and governance matters. So without further ado, please once again join me in welcoming Mrs. Olaide Adeyemo to this auspicious webinar, Corporate Compliance Essentials that every company should know. You are welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Madam.
Yeah, so at this moment,
you.
I'm just going to hand over to you so that you can speak to the topic at hand, and then thereafter, our viewers will have the opportunity to send in their questions via the chat box or through calls.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Kike. Thank you so much, viewers. Thank you for logging in, because definitely there are essentials that corporate entities need to be aware of, especially in this Nigeria of today. And where I'm going to start from is we're going to look at before you are even aware of what you are supposed to do, you must, you must be formed. You must be an entity. Entity formation is what we call it. So it's either you are a business name or you are a limited liability company. Now, somewhere down the line, I will make a distinction between being a business name and a limited liability company, because your business has to have a formation, for you to be corporate, that kind of thing. So if it's a limited liability company, it could be a private company, which the law says that should not be more than 50 people. It could be a public limited liability company, and it could be as well a company limited by guarantee, and it could also be a company that is limited or limited company. So it could be either, but there has to be a legal identity, for your organization. So if it is a business name, yes, even though business name is very easy to register, it is very cheap. At the same time, it is like a sole proprietorship. There is no difference between the owner and the business name. When there is any liability, the law can come after personal assets. Unlike when it is a limited liability company. When it is a limited liability company, your company is a distinct legal person, and you will only be limited to the liability by the shares that you own in a company. So a limited liability company will be separate from the owners. Now, the other thing essential that a company needs to know is corporate governance. I was reading only yesterday, the Nigerian Bar Association conference is ongoing, and I was reading one of the snippets of it, which was about company formation and things like that. And one of the things that was said was the fact that at times it is not that companies don't have the capital. What usually ruins company is lack of sound corporate governance, and that is very essential. if you own any company, even if it is a business name, you can start with baby steps. There has to be sound corporate governance. And what do we mean by that? This is about how a company, how an organization runs, how decisions are made. Are they ethical decisions? Are the decisions fair to everybody? Are you accountable, to the owners of the company? Are you also transparent in the way that you make your decisions? And of course, if it is a limited liability company, there is a way that you have to also have board meetings, making of decisions, ensuring that the decision cuts across to the bottom line of that company. Then the next essential that you need to have as a corporate entity is also your brand protection. One thing you have to know is that your brand is your identifier. It is a market identifier. There is a reason why you buy what you buy. There is a reason why you choose, for example, first registrars, because of their operational excellence, because of the services that they render. So your brand identifier helps people to make a choice. So if you have your brand, if you have something to identify with the services that you provide, then the best thing is for you to protect it. What does it do for you? It gives you legal exclusivity. And a lot of people are not aware of that, because your brand protection is what sets you apart in the marketplace. It is uniquely you. It is why anybody, any consumer will want to associate with you. I was talking with somebody yesterday and I was asking, have you registered? I said, we are registered. A lot of people mix the incorporation of company with the protection of your brand. They're two different services, and there are two different things that you have to know. We will still deal more about it down the line, and your brand is divided into, it could fall under copyright if what you are doing has to do with literary works, maybe novel that you are writing, software, and things like that. It could fall under trademarks, when you have a mark, when you have a logo, and maybe when you have a slogan to describe whatever goods or service that you have. Then it could fall under patent when it is an invention, when it is new. Then it could also fall under trade secrets. A lot of us drink some of these fizzy drinks, without necessarily promoting anyone. There are some that the secret of the mixture, nobody has been able to check up till today. And that is what gives them, the leverage in the marketplace. So these are some of the essentials. The other essential that I want to talk about is also with respect to your fiscal commitment. As a corporate entity, your financial reporting, your tax reporting is very, very essential. If you have staff, of course, you have to pay as you earn, their personal tax every 10th day after the end of the month, after you pay their salaries. Then, of course, you have to also file returns every 31st January of the year, of the new year, for their personal income tax. You have to file that. Then the VAT that you charge, you have to file returns as well to the government every 21st day of the month. Then withholding taxes that you withhold on consumer goods, and whatever that you supply, you also have to pay and file within 30 days of its collection, or rather of its deduction. Then company income tax has to be paid. All these timelines you have to know. Company income tax has to be paid after every 6 months of your financial year, and then your tax identification number. These are mandatory compliance that every corporate entity must be involved in or must comply with. There is also now the SCUMUL, that is now for non-financial professions and businesses, because SCUMUL is directed and it is under the EFCC, Economic Financial Crimes Commission, because the government wants to avoid some non-financial businesses from being conduit for money laundering. So it is very essential now that you must have that and you must have your certificate. The other essential that any corporate organization must have is your labor law alignment. Because you have staff, you must ensure that it's always good and it is to your advantage to give them letters of employment. The letters of employment that you give your staff is like a mini contract between you and them with respect to services they are rendering for your organization and what you will in turn have to give to them. Then, their pension contribution, because now it is compulsory minimum. If you have minimum of 3 staff, you must pay pension. And the pension contribution, the staff contributes 8%, the company contributes 10%, and you have to file. And we're going to look at, down the line, when we're talking, we're going to look at, because there are sanctions when you don't. So it is not just that, I have these people working for me. It is because of their, of their future. So you have to comply with that. You have to register. That is good for you as a corporate entity to have an employee handbook that will help your staff not to hazard guesses as to what is expected of them, but for them to know what to do, and all of that. Then it behoves on you to also provide a safe working environment for your staff. Let it be a place, not only a place where they like to work, but a place where they love to work, so that it is very, very, their output, to the organization is very, very good. You have to provide conducive environment. Another compliance essential is now data protection. And we have the Nigeria Data Protection Act of 2023 now, that every organization, data is gold now. So you cannot treat the data of your clients or your consumers anyhow. Their personal data, you must have consent before you deal with their data. And then the reason why you collected the data is what you should use it for. It is not for you to, trade out and just use their data anyhow. And then one other thing is that data helps with analytics. Data helps with analytics. You are able to know, this data, or, let me give an example. For example, if you are making supplies and you have a whole lot of, customers that you are making supplies for, you will already know, if you keep data well, you will already know the timing, and you will also already know the volume that a certain customer will have at a certain point. That will also help you to be able to, know the kind of resources that you will get in order to be able to satisfy that customer. So for your company to be in good standing, you have to register properly. In fact, the law, Company and Allied Matters Act, says that every coming together, every organization or association of people that is in trade, in business, should be registered. So you have to register properly. You might say that, I don't have the money to do limited liability company. Business name is there, even though it has its own shortcomings, but you can start from somewhere, and as you grow, as you expand, you can transit to a limited liability company. Then your admin, of course, I've spoken about all the filings that you need to do, all the taxes, and all of that. Because when you lose the good standing, when you don't comply with these essentials that we're talking with, it's immediate financial penalties. For example, now, PENCOM now charges penalty over unpaid pensions, or over timely payment. If you don't file your pensions timely, pension charges, Pencom now charges penalty for that. Then it could lead to suspension of your operations, and it could even lead to the dissolution of this corporate entity that you have built over the years. So it is very, very essential for you. And you see, everybody is in business to grow. Your business, the aim of your business is for it to expand, is for it to increase and all of that, and gives you opportunity to have investors. So if you are not keeping your house well, with all these essentials, no investor will touch you with the longest of spoon. No investor will want to take you over, and without an investor there is no way that you can move forward. Now let's look at the core requirements for your entity to remain to be in good standing. Number one is mandatory annual returns. If you are a limited liability company, even business names under CAMA and under CAC, you must file your annual returns. Annual returns it helps CACs to know that, number one, your company is alive, your company is doing well, and your customers can relate with you. So that is very, very essential. And you see, these filings, it helps the public to know accurately and to keep accurate record. And if you are familiar, in 2025, CAC had to deregister a lot of companies. Some of them were in default of their annual returns for upward of 10 years, 20 years. CAC just doesn't want to keep record of companies without them being, active. The next one, and you see, the thing about that is that if you check the status of your company on CAC and it says inactive, it is because there's a default in your filing. So you have to make that good so that it doesn't get struck out. Because when it gets struck out, number one, your bank account, you will not be able to use your bank account, because I was reading last week or 2 weeks ago, the CAC Registrar General is having a kind of alignment with banks that organizations that are inactive, banks should not honor, and should also close their account. So it's a lot of penalties coming down. You don't want to find yourself in that place. Then tax compliance, we've spoken so much about that, previously, and timely filing of your tax returns and payment of your applicable taxes. There are general taxes and there are also sector taxes. For example, if you are in FMCG, fast moving consumer goods, definitely that your NAFDAC registration must be up to date. So there are some sectoral taxes too that you must be aware of. Then company secretary maintenance. All of these things, I know you might be asking the question, so who is going to be, who is going to be the one in charge, who is going to be, running after and whatever. That's why you have first registrars. That's why they will be able to be the one to help you to ensure that your compliance is in order, because you want to focus on ensuring that the company, profits, the company makes profit, the company expands and all of that. Let first registrar be the one to have the headache to ensure that your compliance is in order. So that is why you need a company secretary, even though I know you can come for me to say that, but the law says that company secretary is not necessary. Well, you might be doing yourself a disservice. It's not compulsory, but it is essential. I will just put it that way. Then licenses and permits. You cannot operate without a valid license or the permit, because this will result into you having to pay huge fines, and you will not want to do that with respect to your organization. So these are, of course, I've spoken through this. And then recently CAC also says that one of the compliance things that you need to know also is that as a legal, as a corporate entity, your letterhead now must have the names of all directors on it. Whether you want to put it at the side, whether it wants to be at the footnote, all the names of your directors must show. And if you have directors that are not Nigerian, you have to show their nationality, so that when you send out information to the outside world, people immediately know the directors who are behind the company. So they will know, you never can tell, they will know whether they want to associate with such people or they don't want to. Your company cannot be faceless. As a legal entity as it is, there are people who are the alter egos. There are people who make the decisions for the company. So that's one of the reasons why the CAC has said that this should also be on your letterhead. Now, I am showing you a copy of what a certificate of incorporation looks like, so that you will know the registration number is there, your company name is there, and the date that it was incorporated is there. And one good thing is your tax identification number too is immediately generated. So you can immediately see it on the face of your certificate of incorporation. This actually is like the birth certificate of your company. It's just like a child that was born, and you register the birth of the child. This actually is like the birth certificate of your company. So it should not be trivialized. It should not be taken with levity. And when you incorporate your company, the law also knows, the regulator knows that this is a new company. So it gives you 18 months, to be able to put things in order and all of that before you are now saying that, okay, you're going to file your annual returns, or that you are doing your first annual general meeting. You understand? Then when there are changes in your company, maybe for one reason or the other, there is a change in the director, you must notify CAC, you must file it. First Register is ready and available to assist you with that. When maybe your address of the company changes, you have to inform the regulator, so that the regulator has the accurate information of your company. Or when there is a change in shareholding of the company, you have to. So you can imagine when a company maybe wants to declare dividend, and you did not register or file the change in the shareholding, there will now be an issue. Which shareholder gets what? Is it the shareholder on the register or the former shareholder on the register? So there will be confusion. So that's why you have to do things properly as it should be. Now, I spoke about brand protection earlier on, and I'm narrowing down just to trademark, because there's a whole lot with respect to brand protection. One of the mistakes that a lot of people make, especially people in the fast-moving consumer goods sector, is that because it is a requirement for them to get NAFDAC number, so they normally will have to, file an application for the trademark. And the minimum requirement at NAFDAC is for you to have the acceptance. It's just to show that, your trademark has been examined and it is accepted. That's the minimum that NAFDAC. But that is not the end, because when your trademark is accepted, the next thing is that there is a statutory mandatory 2 months where your trademark is published for the world to see, and for if there will be room for opposition, and the third party will say, this trademark that you have accepted, I was the first person to file it, so why are you allowing this other person to? Or this trademark that you have accepted, I have an issue with it. It is similar with my own. It is identical with my own. Then the registrar will now look at post and say, okay, can you amend? Can you do this? Or the registrar will give his verdict. So the end of your trademark application is not notice of acceptance, but it is when you have your certificate of registration. And I have put a copy out there. You will see at the first right-hand corner, you will see the RTM, that is the registered trademark number. That's where you will see the number. Then the name of the trademark is there. Then the date of filing, the date of application, not necessarily the date that the certificate was signed. They are two different dates. So it is the date of filing the application that is also the birth date of your trademark, and not the date the certificate was issued, because there are administrative delays. So you must not make that error, because your trademark also is valid for the initial 7 years that you file it, and then you have to renew after the first 7 years, you now renew for 14 years and every subsequent 14 years. If you do not, the law provides that trademark, after a long time that you do not, the registrar has the power to remove it from the register, because what you are telling the registrar is that it is no more important to you. So leave the name, leave the logo, and let another person have use of it, because if yours is on the register, it is going to debar other people that want to use that kind of thing. And you also have to continuously watch and guard your trademark to ensure that it is valid. So the next thing that I would like to also talk about, one of the essentials that I highlighted earlier on is with respect to sound governance, sound corporate governance. Unfortunately, it is an anomaly, and I'm glad that a lot of organizations are looking towards correcting the anomaly that on this side of the world, once the owner of a business dies, the business dies with the owner, not necessarily even a business name, even a corporate entity. Where I grew up, there were, at least for the life of me, I can remember the Udutola tires. Where is it today? But however, outside of here, we've heard of organizations, we heard of companies that have outlived their owners, and with successive generations. Some companies have been like 100 years, 120 years, 130 years. There is something they are doing, and they are doing well, and they are doing right, and it is underpinned with sound corporate governance. Sound corporate governance, because number one, we must understand that the company that we own is separate from us as a person. The company has its own life of its own. So there are directors and there are shareholders. The shareholders are the owners of the company. The directors are the people that have been called to say, we own this company, and more or less like, Madam Kike, take this company and run for us, run on our behalf. I know that in Nigeria, of course, and even outside of Nigeria, there are cases where you have both shareholder and director being one and the same. But if we want the company to run, the director must know, because there is a Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance 2018 that stipulates the roles of the board, the roles of the management. In fact, one of the things that the principle of Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance says that the chairman and the managing director of the company must not be one and the same. There has to be a difference. So a different person should be the managing director, a different person should be the chairman. It cannot be one and the same person. So it helps also for the board to have a good board charter. The board charter will stipulate the responsibility of the board. The board is supposed to provide strategic oversight over the company. If the board is not involved in the day-to-day operations of the company, that is left for the management to do. But the oversight and ensuring that targets that are made and that the company is entrepreneurial in nature so that they can move forward, that is the responsibility of the board. And on the board, we must have diverse people, diverse gender, people with diverse skills, so that it will bring, diverse information, and somebody can be vast in information technology, another person can be vast in financial intelligence. So it will bring all of that to the table, and it will be to the further of the company. Now, I must say also, I know that here we do have family businesses that are thriving and all of that. One of the things the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance says is that yes, we know that there are family businesses and we appreciate having family businesses, but let there be no more than 2 affinities on the board. Because when situation arises and the board wants to take a decision or a vote, there is a possibility that people of the same affinity, they will agree together, and it won't be for the it won't be for the good of the company. We must be able to have diverse information and diverse opinion in leading the company forward. So we shouldn't be afraid of bringing in people that have information and have the knowledge, to lead the company forward. There should be ethical decisions that are made, should be ethical decisions for the good of the company. Now, that board that we have, we must also from time to time evaluate the board. Are we doing well? Are we okay? Are we taking the right decisions? Are we moving forward? Is management doing what it is supposed to do? And have assessment. Then one other thing that companies can do for themselves, actually, it is a principle of Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance, and it is whistleblowing policy. A lot of companies have internal whistleblowing policies. It's good, but one thing over the years that you have to understand is that internal whistleblowing policy, because of our culture and background, some people might have the impression of, if I blow whistle internally, how do I know that they will not mention my name? So at times, for organizations to have good process with that, you could outsource your whistleblowing so that there is transparency, there is independence, so that the whistleblower is protected. It is not about the person blowing the whistle now. It is about the issue, that the misconduct that we want to address. So, these are the core pillars of the compliance. Of course, I've spoken so much about corporate governance, the CAC, CAMA, and all of that. CAMA also requires person with significant control, the person who has the largest number of shares in any organization. Of course, tax compliance, the Nigerian Revenue Service is all over the place now. We must all be aware of it, and that's how on the portal, we have to file all that we have to file. Of course, the anti-money laundering also is there, and the oversight. There is also the data privacy, and cyber security and all of that to avoid cyber crime. And of course, I've spoken so much about the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance, the principles of the Code of Corporate Governance, the Pension Reform Act, all that the pension payment has to do. Of course, the Trademarks Act and the Finance Act as well. So, the emerging regulatory frontiers, there is a kind of correlation and interrelation between all the entities. Of course, the CAC, the Nigerian Revenue Service, the Nigeria Data Privacy Commission, the SCUMO. It's no longer passive. Everything is now interrelated, and everything is there's a kind of cross correlation between all of these organizations. So, there are digital portals now with digital submissions for all your filings and all of that. Now, cost of non-compliance, when you do not comply, financial penalties, piercing of the corporate veil, because even as a legal entity, the regulator can lift the veil and there are criminal liability for directors, both civil and criminal liabilities for directors is very available, so you cannot do anyhow. Then you might be restricted, from being able to handle some contracts when you do not comply, and of course you run the risk of your organization also being dissolved as well. Your regulatory check, CAC is there. Nigerian Revenue Service that is operated by the Nigerian Tax Act, the SCUMO about the money laundering, the NDPC, that's the Nigeria Data Protection Commission. So this is a path to your compliance excellence. Identify all the applicable legal and regulatory obligations. I said it earlier and I'm going to repeat it again. First registrar is your friend and your ally in this regard. Then establish policies, procedures, and internal controls. Train your employees. Ensure your employees know, because so that, for example, you don't run the risk of the Nigeria Data Protection Act. You manage data of your clients and your customers, and your employee does not know the importance of it and treats the data anyhow. It's going to bounce back to you. So you have to ensure and train your employees as well. Then monitor, track the deadlines, and maintain your records. Ensure your records are in good order and demonstrate compliance. I specifically, put this there, the importance of your company secretary. And I will say it over and over again, First Registrars offers this service. And that is why they are also putting out this education for you to know and to understand. Your company secretary will play a very, very crucial role. Your company secretary necessarily don't have to be in-house. You can outsource. You can outsource, and so they will be the ones to notify you, oh, this is due, we have to file this, we have to do this, so that you can concentrate and focus on ensuring that your company, moves forward and makes profit. So, this is the actionable executive roadmap. Ensure that your letterhead is compliant with what CAC has requested. Names of your directors and everyone is there. Your portal, ensure that your company is active on CAC, and your IP portfolio. A lot of people, they have intellectual property, and it is an asset, just like you have landed property. It is just because the intellectual property is intangible. That's why a lot of people they care less about it. But it is an asset because you can license it, you can sell it, you can make money out of it. So ensure your intellectual property portfolio is in order. Do an IP audit to look at everything and see. There was one that happened. There was a client, someone that registered, and went ahead to register and did not register in the right class, and was in the financial services but did not register in the financial services, and another person now went to register in the financial services, and it became a problem. So meanwhile, he had used the logo, the trademark to launch the product in the market. So it now became a problem that, number one, is going to affect whatever it was, that you are trying to market and sell. And number two also is the fact that you're going to lose money. You understand? So institutional secretarial support as well. I have said that over and over again. First Registrar is an institutional secretary that is able to provide you this institutional secretarial support, and they are available. So your compliance should never distract you from your core business when it is structured properly. It is the fundamental engine that protects your commercial value, and it builds investor trust. When everything is done, your record keeping is in order, everything is in order, you will attract investors, and it will guarantee long-term sustainability. Thank you very much.
Wow.
for the opportunity. Thank you.
Wonderful. I couldn't have done it better. Thank you so much for expounding on the topic of discourse. It's been a very enlightening presentation, and we truly appreciate that. Now, our viewers, you are free to send in your questions, your comments, and whatever contributions you want to make to this webinar. While we are waiting for response from our viewers, I would like to just ask a few questions on behalf of our audience, of course.
Definitely.
Yeah, for those who cannot call in. Briefly, can you just explain to us in plain language for people out there who are not really educated as such, the layman, let me just use that expression, to the layman out there, how would you define corporate compliance?
Okay, to the layman, corporate compliance is do the right thing. Corporate means a body. Compliance means to do. So, as in to do what the law says. Because when you became a body, it's more or less like you have submitted yourself to this regulation. You have submitted yourself to these laws, that this company is set up under. So to comply means to obey. Obey what the law says. That's just what it is, pure and simple.
Fantastic. That's a very, very concise definition for anyone out there. Corporate compliance means that you should do what the law says. In simple language, obey the law. So thank you for that. Now, something usually puzzles me, and this is the issue of family-owned businesses. Typically, we know that in our climate, family-owned businesses do not seem to survive the founders. Give or take, after the demise of the founders, these businesses maybe exist for an average of about, well, if I'm not exaggerating, maybe 10 years.
That's even if it does.
If it does. So, let's look critically at this issue of non-survivor or inability to translate a business from the founders to the next generation and other generations after it. A lot of times I watch some cable television, and I see some documentaries about Mars, the producers of Mars chocolate. It's a worldwide brand. I watch how Cadbury started. I watch how a lot of these companies, how they started, and then they are still here today. Some of them are well over 100 years.
Sure.
Now, can you just briefly let us know what they are doing right vis-a-vis what family-owned businesses in Nigeria are doing that are preventing them from moving from one generation to the other? Okay. And how do we tie it in with corporate compliance?
Okay, thank you very much. So, number one problem on this side of the world is when I have a business that I have started, I immediately have it at the back of my mind. My son must take over, or my daughter must take over. It's not necessarily so. I mean, not even if we want to be very real and practical, not even in this world where most of our children are now traveling out of Nigeria, and they're not even interested. Yes, we're not saying that you cannot wish for them to be there, but you must be able to assess, does this child have the passion? Does this child have the interest to take it? When you are able to assess that, and you realize that, okay, this child has a passion and interest, no problem. The child can be trained, to take over. But where you realize that the child does not have the slightest interest for it, it's better for you because of the life of that company to train and have other people who are knowledgeable. Now, the fact that you have a third party on the company as a director does not mean that that person owns the company. You remember I said it earlier on, shareholders are the owners of the company. So for whatever, yes, your children can be shareholders. They can have out of the shares. But for the company to run well, put the square peg in a square hole. That's one. Two, even where the children are now interested and you bring them on board, do not do it as a gifts kind of thing. Ensure that they know and understand the rudiments of the company, and they know what is to be done. That this company is for profits. And like I said earlier on, so that we can have good governance, even if you are bringing them in on the board at every point in time, let there not be more than 2 people on the board. You can have or execute a family constitution such that the family, maybe when you're declaring dividend or something, you can have a percentage that goes to the family that can be shared with the remaining members of the family, who are not even on the board or who are not even in the company. But the running of the company must be done dispassionately. It has to be, it must not be for it mustn't be a self-seeking thing. It must be very objective and to the cause of ensuring that this company moves forward. Number 3, ensure everybody is on salary. I said it. Let there be transparency. Let everybody be on salary. Let it be that because you are in this position, this is how much you earn. And not because I need money, I just call the accountant, give me this. No, we will run that company aground. So the sound thing. And then even if a child or a family member is part of the company, it's not necessary that he's an executive director. It can be a non-executive director. And then you must have third parties who are on the board also, who will be able to tell you the truth of how the company should run. Who will be able to look you in the face, and say that no, this thing is not being done with best practices. So, it will go a long way, and it will help companies to survive. There are other principles and all of that, but I guess we can look at those and see, so that our viewers can go and ensure that the companies outlive them and they stay for a long time.
Okay, right there on the screen I can see a question. When there is an increase in share capital of a client company, who notifies the CAC? Is it the client company or the registrar to the client company? Is
the client company through the company secretary.
Okay.
Yes,
so that's clear then.
Yeah.
It's the client company that is required to notify the CAC about increase in share capital, not the registrar to the company.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, let me add something. Now, when you say registrar, I hope the person is not thinking that because we are talking about first registrars. So first registrars is not only the services of first registrar is not only in the collation of shares alone. They also provide company secretarial services. They also provide companies, so that the person is not mixing it up. I'm just thinking and guessing that. I hope the person is not saying that should he be first registrar. It can be or exactly as a registrar company that manages shares, but in this case they also provide company secretarial services. So they are more like the company secretary who will help the company to ensure that its shares are in order in the
if
company.
Appointed as a company secretary
Exactly.
to the company.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Another question.
Okay.
So there's another question there. So thank you so much, ma. My question is, can trademark acceptance letter be deemed as the mark being established and the owner can go ahead? I don't know, is that clear?
I can infer what the person is trying to say. So no, I already said that. So trademark acceptance letter is just to tell you your trademark has been examined, because when you file an application, you will get the acknowledgement notice that the registrar will say, we have accepted your application. Or rather, we have received your application. Then the application will now be examined as to form and as to substance. With respect to, is this, I hope the application will be checked if it is not against public policy, if it is not conflicting conflicting with what we already have on the register, and all of that. And also to be examined as to substance, if it is within the class or within the course of trade where it will be used. So after it has been examined, then a notice of the acceptance letter is issued to say, we have examined your application, we have found your application to be in order, take this letter. Then it will now be published, and that publication is for 2 months statutorily. It's non-extendable. It's for 2 months that we provide and allow third party to look at it to say that, okay, I don't have anything about this application is okay, is good, or I have an issue with this application, and they will file the opposition, and thereafter the opposition will be looked at whether it's meritable or it is not meritable. Then thereafter the registration certificate will now be issued, and I try to show an example of the registration certificate.
Okay, I hope our viewers, the person who asked that question, is satisfied with that. So there's another question here. How do you recommend balancing rapid business growth with maintaining a strong compliance culture?
Get a company secretary who will help you to maintain your compliance. And like I said, it doesn't necessarily that it has to be an in-house company secretary. It can be outsourced. We already have a list of all the compliances that you have to keep with. So I agree with you that it can be inundating when you are seeking and running for the growth of the business, and then you are being pulled here. You have not done this, you have not done that, you have not done that. So that is why, honestly, and jokes apart now, that is why you must have a concentration on all the things that you have to comply with, so that it could be a distraction, so that it will not be a distraction for you. Get someone to manage it for you.
Good. Any other question in the chat box? Okay, so I would like us to just take this question.
Okay.
What exactly counts as corporate compliance, and how is it different from general business ethics? How would you differentiate corporate compliance from general business ethics? Is it the same thing?
It could overlap, but like I said initially, corporate compliance is, as a company, I will obey the law. As a company, I will do the right thing. As a company, I will do what is expected of me so that I am in good standing. Now, business ethics is having ethical decisions, making ethical decisions, ensuring that the services or the goods and the things that I produce, they are ethical, they are done right, they are done well, and my organization is run ethically, and nothing of misconduct or unethical can be traced to my organization. Do you understand? So, like I said, it could overlap to ensure that my organization is run as it should run, and the services or the goods that I sell, there is no negative taint about them. Okay. I don't know if that answers.
It does
exactly.
That.
So there's an overlap somewhere, but at the same time, it does have its own distinct direction as well.
Yeah, I saw a question on So it says for SMEs, what are the minimum compliance controls you would say are non-negotiable for SMEs?
So for an SME, that is a small medium enterprise. Like I said earlier on, you could be a business name, you could be a limited liability company. Now, if you are a business, even if you're both, one of the non-negotiables is ensuring that your annual returns are filed. Your annual returns are filed, because that tells us that you are in business. That's one. Another non-negotiable also is the taxes that you are required to file. Because if you don't, there is the possibility that your company can be dissolved or not reckoned with. Another non-negotiable for you, also from the list of what we have looked at, is also the way you treat your employees. The way you treat your employees. Now, if you are a limited liability company, another non-negotiable for you as an SME is even if you cannot afford to have a corporate board, even if you cannot afford to establish a corporate board, get an advisory board. And that's very, I would say, easy. Very, very easy, because as an advisory board, you can get people that you know who necessarily will not ask for money, but you are just tapping into their experience, their exposure to come and help you. And they'll be willing to provide, experience that, you are not doing this well, do this way, this should be done like this, and all of that. They will bring their expertise to the table and to help you move your business forward.
So, how do compliance expectations differ for small versus large corporations? If we on a scale of, if we are weighing them on a scale, how do they differ?
Well, I mean, for me to be able to respond well, compliance is for everybody. So when you now talk about what differs and what does not differ, for example, for a large corporation, there could be, decision making. Decision making might not be as easy as it is for small company. Because for a large corporation, you might have to go through the different levels of experience, different level of decision making, and all of that. But for a small one, I mean, it's just very easy to make decisions and all of that. So compliance will be easier for a small corporation than a larger corporation. But be that as it may, compliance is sacrosanct for both small and large, corporations, and to ensure that everybody is in what's it called. Then one of the things that maybe small corporations or small organizations think of is, I don't have the money, to comply.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, and not knowing that non-compliance, it keeps piling up. It keeps piling up, which at the end of the day will now be an issue to weigh the company down, finally. So on a scale, really and truly, I don't know. I think it might not be the same for both the small and the big, but then I think everybody should comply.
So that means that there's a general level of compliance that every company is expected to comply, to undertake, yes. Whether you are small, medium, enterprise, and vis-a-vis the large corporations, there are the general minimum level of compliance that are required.
Exactly.
And if I can, just distill from what you have said so far, that this basic level of compliance includes rendering your returns, your annual returns on regular basis, ensuring that you pay your taxes, whether it's sectorial or general,
yes,
yeah,
PAYE,
then all those
CIT, and all of that,
and ensuring that you are in good standing in terms of your registration, your renewal of your licenses and stuff like that, ensuring that your staff, your employees are well taken care of.
Definitely.
Their pensions are paid timely.
Definitely.
And without any, borrowing from local parlors, mago,
exactly.
And like you mentioned,
because it's their future, actually.
It's their future. You did mention that now there's penalty
for
late rendering of pension payments, and whether you are small or you are big, you don't want to run foul of this. And then something that interested me while you were talking is that even if you have 3 people on your payroll,
minimum of 3
people on your payroll, they are entitled to a pension. So for people who have for example a barber's shop and they have employed 3 people that they pay monthly, or even a catering outfit or whatever, those small and medium scale enterprises that generally the tax nets don't seem to have captured, they have a duty, they are duty bound now to ensure that these people have a pension that they can look forward to in the future. So for you as a small and medium scale enterprise owner, please take note of this. It's very important. And then there's another question.
Sorry, before we take that question, the employees will make the choice of their pension, their PFAs.
Their PFAs.
Exactly. So the company will now ready.
Yeah. So I saw a question now just there. Can you just is it all businesses that need a trademark, or are there categories of businesses?
If you want your business to be known, and if you want to keep the assets of your business, you need a trademark. It's all businesses. Like I said, it is the identifier of your goods. It is the identifier of your service. Let me go low. If I am making pastries and I have my mixture that distinguishes my pastry from yours, I want to protect that. So, and I call my pastry Tasty Time. I'm just using a fictitious name now, And I come here to sell that pastry, and everybody enjoys it, everybody buys it. They realize there's something, in that pastry that gives them pleasure. And you come with your own pastry, and you call your own pastry Taste and See. Do you understand?
Now the Lord is good.
And you sell your own pastry, and both of us meet in this marketplace, and you find that everybody just wants Tasty Time. And you begin to wonder, what is it about? Is it not the same pastry that we are making and all of that? You now decide to say, okay, your own is Taste and See. This one is Tasty Time. You now remove Taste and and See. You now say your own is Taste. Or you decide to put S there, and you probably also use the color that I use. So when we now come to the marketplace, people are now like, they look alike now. Let me buy this one, and they buy, but they don't get that pleasure. So that is why you will not be able to say, no, we are not the same. No, this person is just riding on my goodwill. Because I have established a goodwill. Everybody in this marketplace, they like my Tasty Time. So she's just trying to malign my goodwill. She's just trying to malign my services and whatever, and she wants to ride on the fact that people like what I provide. So if you want your customers, if you want your clients to hold on to the services that you provide, then you will protect your logo, you will protect your services, you will protect your trademark. Let me give this example. It was many years ago, about 20 years ago. There was this person who was putting together a choco drink and called this Bonita. Bonita. It was chocolate drink, it was, and all of that. And of course, as an SME, was producing maybe in small packs. And Bonvita wasn't producing the smaller packs then, because one other thing you have to understand is that you can say that, but Cadbury is big or whatever. One thing you have to know is that for whatever, it is undercutting your gains. It is undercutting your income. So of course Cadbury went after and they seized all the goods because you are infringing on their rights. You are infringing on what and that is what the trademark does for you. The protection of your trademark, that's what it does for you. It gives you exclusivity. Legal exclusivity is what it gives you, that no other person can use it except you, because it is the creation of your mind. It is what you have been able to do, and the law wants you to enjoy what you have been able to come up with.
Thank you so much. Wow. Any other question in the chat room? Okay, on the final note, I would like to ask, Madam, what are the highest risk compliance areas across most industries from your experience?
The highest risk compliance areas. Tax. That's key. A lot of people run foul of that. And honestly, if you want to be sincere also, you find out that a lot of organizations are drawn in multiple areas with regard to taxes that they have to pay. Then another risk area is maybe expired licenses that they're not aware of. That also is there. Which other risk area can I readily recall? Yes, filing of regulatory returns. Like I said, some people 40 years. The companies are just there. They are not even aware that they are supposed to file. So those are red flags. Those are red areas that are very key.
Wow. It's been a very, very engaging session, and honestly, I wish we had more time to continue with the questions. We have so many questions. I have so many questions that I've, written down here, but time will not permit us to go on. We are actually practically out of time. But viewers, I hope you have enjoyed today's webinar as much as I have enjoyed it, and I'm sure that the members of the crew have also enjoyed this time with our facilitator. On this note, we would like to thank Mrs. Olaide Adeyemo for taking out time out of her very busy schedule to honor our invitation to be our guest speaker for today.
Thank you for
just as we've been blessed, borrowing the that language from our Christian folks, we have been blessed to have you. I'm sure our audience has also been blessed by all the information, the wealth of information that you have presented to them, and they will be able to look inward, especially those of them that have businesses that they run. They will be able to look inward and begin to make some adjustments where necessary, such that their businesses can outlive them. That's the whole aim.
Very key.
Very, very important. Whatever business you are running, you want to be sure that you are able to it's able to outlive you, and that even when you are not there, it can run itself. So once again, thank you so much, madam, for being our guest speaker for today. Thank you so much for joining us, viewers. In the next couple of months, we should be coming up once again with another webinar. So stay tuned. Webinar 10.0 will be holding in the next couple of months, and that's what month, Kikelomo?
That should be in October.
I'll
be addressing probate matters.
Yes, so we look forward to see you then, and God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.